As you read further into this book, you are expected to get more serious about meditation. Unified meditation is not for the faint hearted, but it's for the hardcore yogi who really wants to find the end of the rainbow. I had given this analogy earlier in this book, and I implied that in the world of meditation, there is an end of this rainbow, even though there is none in the real world. Reaching this chapter, you must already have lots of motivation to practice my teachings of unified meditation. So, congratulations to have reached this far or this level. Many people practice meditation as an escape or as an experiment. There is nothing wrong with that. Even throughout my life, I ventured into various hobbies, sports, and professions. And then when it got too hot or too deep, and I realized that I had to fully commit. Then I took a step back. One of such an activity is my sojourn with judo. Yes, I am a judoka, or should I say, I was one. I used to train with the military guys and the police guys. Actually, there was no other options because in the institute where judo was taught in my city, most of the people were from the police and the army, and it was only one institute. Anyways, I was hardworking, dedicated, and also I showed some talent. The teachers were impressed. I thought that I liked the sport, but somehow I knew that I'm not cut for a career as a judoka. And then I had to decide whether I will be competing professionally. I realized the training was too hard and tough. Basically, the pain and the sacrifice wasn't worth it for me because it's not where I was going. The randori or the mock competition was fine with me, but fighting as if my life depended on it is not something that I had in mind. And so basically, I chickened out. That was when I was in my 20s. Even though I did not practice judo, I always loved to watch judo bouts on television and anything like magazines, YouTube, and so on. I also read a lot of books on judo and martial arts. However, for me, judo was more of a philosophy than a sport which I would embrace as a career. The gurus were quite disappointed with me quitting. Even till today, I do the judo techniques as part of my exercise routine. I also tried a shot at becoming a radio DJ, but it never worked out. I also tried to be a coordinator and organizer, but that also didn't work out. And the most obvious is, despite my having studied 4 years of engineering, I even didn't ever practice engineering as a profession. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that we might try so many things, but we might not be cut for it. There are only few things that we can dedicate our lives for. So, if meditation is not for you, then it's fine. If you read on this book and just want to quench your thirst of knowledge about this topic, it's fine. Then, if you want to actually practice unified meditation and attain enlightenment, it's also fine. But what I'm teaching you in this book, and especially from this point forward, is the real hardcore stuff of meditation. There is no turning back once you know all the things that you will read on. The world of meditation is too lucrative to ever want something else. Myself, I did not become a judoka, but I became a writer despite all its costs. That is, of not being able to earn a single rupees directly from having written so much. I also became an expert meditator, again, despite not having earned a single rupees from that. So these two hobbies or activities were so ingrained in me that I would have done them at any cost. They might not be direct cost because both writing and meditation don't require so much of equipment or material things, but it involved a lot of opportunity cost, meaning that I had to give up so many things to do those two things. So this is the kind of dedication that is required to practice unified meditation. But many people are not cut for this kind of unquestioned resolution, and it's okay. As a profession, I went head on into giving speeches, training people, motivating, and counseling. I never looked back, and I increase my knowledge and skills in this field every day. Again, it comes at a great opportunity cost because I have left so many other means to make a living. But it's my choice, and it's okay. Now, coming to this chapter, I want to point you to the title itself. Like the earlier chapter, this title also may seem at odds with meditation, but there is a reason why I used the word geography and physics. Through this chapter, I want to establish the fact that in unified meditation, the spiritual world, or what we experience after our eyes are closed and we sit in meditation, is very similar to the physical world that we experience when we are awake and moving our bodies. So, like there is geography and physics in the physical world, my thesis is that there must be a geography and physics in the spiritual world too. Now, you might ask me, why is it necessary to know the geography and the physics of the spiritual world? This is because it's a imaginary world, but there is a reality to it that is very fluid. The spiritual world exists, and it has its own properties, laws, and principles. The idea is to try to understand what those characteristics are before we reach the real spiritual world. You might ask, why is that necessary to practice beforehand? Well, if we are not prepared when we experience the spiritual world, then first of all, we will not know that we have reached the spiritual world. Then, somehow, if we are aware that we have reached that spiritual place, we will not know how to behave or do stuff there. Consequently, we will lose the opportunity that was given to us. I know it's a bit confusing, so let me explain to you using the analogy of the astronaut. You can take a look at the diagram below. This diagram consists of two rows. The first one is a set of pictures showing the astronauts being trained on Earth for the different laws of gravity in space. Then the second row shows the same astronauts who are able to navigate in space. How could they do that? Well, it was because of the training that they received on Earth. Was the training the exact replica of what they would experience in space? Certainly not, but it was close. That was enough for the astronauts to perform in space. Similarly, by knowing how the spiritual world works, we will be able to excel when we are actually in that place. Now, let me illustrate with another analogy of a key. As you can see in the diagram below, the key needs to fit in a certain pattern within the keyhole so that it can open the door or the window or whatever is being locked. In the first row, it's a perfect fit. In the second row, the key is incorrect and it's not a fit, and as a result there is no reaction and the door doesn't open. Now I'm giving you this example to tell you what is the objective of this chapter. I'm trying to give you the key to open your spiritual world. I'm trying to make the key match the actual keyhole that you will face in unified meditation through the various explanation that I'm going to give you in this chapter about the geography and the physics of the spiritual world. Again, it's not gonna be a perfect match, but it will be enough to open the door. You will need to do some fine adjustments by yourself because even my own experience of the spiritual world might not exactly match yours. In the end, it's all imagination. And the spiritual world is very fluid, depending highly on our thoughts and feelings and desires and our own willpower. However, whatever I have described in this chapter are 95% accurate with regards to how the spiritual world works. This information will be crucial for you in your meditation practice. Like the astronaut who has been trained on Earth can maneuver in space much easier than one who would not have been trained on Earth. You too will find it much easier when the door of the spiritual world will open for you. But before such a time occurs, you have to be ready by practicing the 10 steps of unified meditation that I will be describing to you in this chapter. And in order to practice those steps, you will need to be aware of certain concepts which I have called geography and physics of the spiritual world. It's like creating your own movie set in your mind. It's both fantasy and architecture and engineering at its best.